Hey everyone, today we're going to be checking out the Osprey Daylite carry-on backpack. And Osprey is known for making a wide variety of great travel bags. I've actually really enjoyed using the smaller brother of this one, the Daylite 26+6 expandable backpack, which is just a super versatile bag, great personal item, and minimal travel bag. And so that definitely made me curious on what it would be like to use the larger version. I wanted to see what the similarities and differences were, and in this video I'm going to be talking about what it's been like to use this over the past couple of weeks. I'll show you how I've loaded it out, walk through all the features, and I'll also talk about how it compares to some of the other similar bags that are currently on the market. Before jumping into the video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the overall aesthetic, the appearance here is pretty similar to the smaller 26+6 expandable backpack, so it's going to have a little bit more of an outdoorsy and technical vibe, like many of Osprey's bags tend to have. It's got compression straps, attachment points, so it's not the most minimal or sleek bag, but I still think that it's going to work well for all types of travel. As far as the materials, the bag feels pretty solidly built. This exterior fabric is a recycled 300D ripstop polyester that feels like it's going to hold up well to the rigors of travel and offer a nice amount of weather resistance. This has a DWR coating, and although it's not quite as rugged as some of the other fabrics on many of the travel bags that I featured, like ballistic nylon or anything like that, one area where it does excel is the weight. This comes in at slightly over 2 pounds, and so this is going to be pretty helpful if you're looking for something that's going to work well for international travel. And then beyond that, you have solid components all throughout, including YKK zippers that have worked very smoothly and reliably. Continuing along the outside of the bag, I was happy to see that you have 2 external water bottle pockets, one on each side. These are going to offer a nice amount of space. I was able to store my 26-ounce Yeti Rambler comfortably, so there's plenty of elasticity here. I like that the compartments are a little bit taller, which is always helpful. And then you have compression straps on each side that will allow you to tighten the bag down when it's not as full. And one of the compression straps has a buckle, so you can release it, which you'll need to do to open this when you get to the main compartment, as we'll talk about later in the video. And on the other side, you just have the ability to adjust it, but you can't quite release it. So I was a little sad that you don't have the buckles on both sides, as I always feel like that gives you a little bit more flexibility with how you can use these, but still nice to have that compression ability. And then you have a nice carrying handle at the top. It's well padded. It's got this breathable material here. You have a handle on the front near the bottom, so that'll make it easy to help load this into an overhead storage compartment or a trunk. And then you have a couple of attachment points on the front that you can pair with compression straps that are sold from a variety of different companies to attach a yoga mat, a jacket, and then you also have the ability to attach a carabiner onto here if you want to clip on hand sanitizer or hero clip. On the front, you also have the name of the bag, the Daylite series, as well as the Osprey logo, which is fairly prominent. It's not quite as large as some other brands, but it's still gonna be very easy to tell which brand this is from. And the bag has been somewhat inconsistent on how well it can stand on its own. When it's loaded out, I've sometimes been able to stand it up, but I have noticed that it can tend to lean forward, particularly since it doesn't have a super rigid structure. Moving into the capacity, the bag comes in at about 35 liters, which is the size that I normally like to use when I'm traveling with just one bag that I'm going to be carrying on and placing into the overhead storage compartment. So this is definitely going to be too big as a personal item, but this is a type of bag that I can use for a couple of weeks of travel very easily. And I like that even when it's a little bit more packed out, although it's a larger bag, because it's not a rigid structure, it doesn't feel overly bulky. This will mold around the items that are on the inside, which can be helpful, and it's going to still make it manageable for navigating crowded areas and jumping onto public transit. Continuing with the harness system, so far the bag has been really comfortable to wear. This is an area where Osprey typically does a good job, so you have a nice amount of padding here, breathable material on the inside. The straps have a pretty good width to prevent the bag from digging into your shoulders. I wish they were maybe slightly wider given the size of the bag, but for the most part I haven't felt any fatigue as I've been wearing this. And then you have an adjustable sternum strap here with a safety whistle. And you also have the ability to hide the straps away. You have these buckles on the bottom, which are pretty easy to release so that you can actually take these off, store them above when you want to just have little bit more of a cleaner layout and prevent the straps from getting tangled on anything. These buckles are made out of a plastic that feels, durable, and I trust Osprey's quality. I've never had any issues, but this is one of those areas on many travel bags where I'm always a little bit wary of, the durability over the longer term, particularly on a larger travel bag. So something to keep in mind. You have a handle on the side that I forgot to call out earlier, so nice material here, kind of a seatbelt like fabric. And then the back panel has also felt quite comfortable. You have Osprey's Airscape style back panel here with a nice amount of padding that's well distributed, breathability. You have some elevation ridges here on the padding. And you also have a luggage pass-through that's going to allow you to rest this on a suitcase to save some weight on your back. And I like that the implementation here doesn't feel the same as the one on the smaller edition of the bag. So that one, the padding, you can kind of feel it on your back. You could feel the luggage pass through, which wasn't always great, but I haven't noticed that same issue here. So great to see Osprey kind of continuing to improve on their bags. And jumping into the organizational options, you have a nice layout here, quick access pocket on the front. That'll be great for the items that you're reaching for regularly. And this has a pretty good amount of space. Even when the bag is packed out, it was able to handle my USB-C hub and charging cables. I placed those both in there. And because it's a little bit of a taller compartment, I was also able to store my iPad mini. And above that, you have an admin style compartment that has some internal organization. I like that this has some space so that you can rest items here, pouches, jackets. I have a bunch of kind of my typical items, my sunglasses with their case, packable tote bag. I have a headlamp, my charging cable resting here at the top. And then on the back, you have a little lanyard with a clip for your keys, a couple of slip pockets with a nice elastic material. I have my AirPods in one of them. And then I have my mouse on the other large one, and in between you have a couple of slots for pens, styluses, and things like that. On the back, you have a dedicated laptop compartment, which I'm always a fan of on travel bags to make it easy to get your device out while you're going through security. You do have the ability to lock this compartment. It's got a loop on the zipper itself, and then there is this additional loop here, so you can kind of secure that with a lock. You have the dual zipper pulls on the main compartment, so this is maybe a little bit more secure, but glad that you at least have some option to incorporate some theft deterrence. And then you have a zipper here that allows you easy access and visibility to your laptop. I have my 14-inch MacBook Pro in here. This is properly suspended off the bottom of the ground, so I can drop my laptop in there. It feels like you have a pretty good amount of padding, and then taking it out, you can get a better look at the inside. It comes up a decent amount, so if you happen to have a thicker device or you want to use a case, you should be able to do so. And then on the back here, you have a pocket that I assume is meant to be used with something like an AirTag. Moving into the main compartment, this does have a suitcase style opening with that lockable zipper. And so this comes all the way around so that you have plenty of visibility and that you can easily pack the bag out. Again, 35 liters of capacity. With this simpler layout, I was able to comfortably store the items that I would typically use for a couple of weeks of travel. And so at the top here, I have a packable backpack, which I will normally have with me with a bag of this size so that I have something to use when I arrive at my destination. This is the Bellroy Light Ready Pack, which has been one of the newer packable options that I'm a big fan of. I love how thin this gets, and it's surprisingly comfortable for a packable style bag. And next up, I have my DOP kit, I have an extra pair of shoes, and then my typical Peak design layout here. You have compression straps in this main area, so that'll help keep everything secure, particularly if you're not using packing cubes. It might help with your clothing, and so I like that those have the buckles to make it easier to secure everything. And yeah, beyond that, very simple layout here. You can see the laptop compartment here on the back and see how properly suspended that is. That's a big gap, and so great to see that incorporated there. And on the other side, you have a zippered mesh pocket that will be a good spot to separate out toiletries or use it to separate out certain clothing items, a jacket. I normally don't use this too much because all of my stuff is in the packing cubes and it doesn't have as much volume as some other bags that have that type of pocket. You could potentially use it for flip-flops and other things, but again, if you don't want to use it, just stays out of the way. And so in general, really great layout and space offered in this main area. And throughout the rest of the bag, I think that everything is very kind of thoughtfully laid out, very functional. This is a great travel backpack, particularly for somebody who's maybe a little newer to one bag travel, who doesn't want to have to worry about, learning how to pack in a new way. This is a very easy bag to adopt. Checks off the boxes that I would normally be looking for. And if you want a, pretty lightweight, spacious, carry-on friendly option, this is going to be an excellent option to take a look at. And so to wrap up, it's been a great experience testing out the Osprey Daylite carry-on backpack. You can currently purchase this on Osprey's site or on Amazon for about $120, which to me feels like a pretty reasonable price considering the features and the build quality that it has to offer, and it's also going to compare well against some of the other similar bags in this price range. And so as I was testing this out, the first bag this made me think of was of course the Daylite 26+6 expandable backpack, which is kind of the smaller version of this bag. Still very versatile. The 26-liter size works for day-to-day usage, and then it can expand for minimal travel, still carry-on friendly, great personal item size when it's compressed down. And it has a lot of the same design touches as this one here, similar aesthetic. It's not gonna have the dedicated laptop compartment like this one does. And of course, it's not gonna have quite as much space, but generally it's still gonna offer a lot of versatility. And if you're interested in a slightly smaller version of this that can work as a personal item, and it's also gonna come in at a slightly lower price point, and that's gonna be a great option to take a look at. Another bag this made me think of is the Patagonia Mini MLC, which is one of my favorite minimal travel bags at 30 liters. It's not quite as spacious as this one, but it still offers a really great travel layout. Clamshell opening that allows you to load a bunch of stuff in, comfortable harness system that you can hide away so you can use it as a shoulder bag or hold it as a briefcase. It includes a waist strap that can also be used as a shoulder strap, which I've always thought is a really cool solution. And then you have, a nice layout with a quick access pocket, water bottle pocket. You have a dedicated laptop area, some internal organization. And so, just a really useful layout. And if you're looking for something that's gonna offer a versatile size that can be carried onto a variety of domestic and international airlines, then that's gonna be a fantastic option to take a look at. And then the last option that I'll mention here is the ULA Dragonfly, which is a very popular one bag option, particularly for people that are looking for a more lightweight bag. It's offered in a couple of different fabrics. I've used the Ultra version, which has been super durable and weather resistant. It's got a pretty simple layout, but excellent external water bottle pockets. It's got the bungee cord on the front, so it's got a little bit more of a technical aesthetic. Quick access pocket, dedicated laptop compartment. It's got a pretty comfortable harness system. And it is offered in a 30 and 36 liter size, so you have a little bit of variety depending on what you're looking for. The 30 liter size in particular, I found to be very versatile. It can work as a personal item bag, a minimal travel bag, and so just really, really useful. And if you're looking for a bag that's gonna offer a great build quality and a simple layout, then that's gonna be an excellent option to take a look at. With that being said, the Osprey Daylite carry-on backpack holds up very well against all those options and is really an impressive value for a bag in this category. And if you're looking for something that's gonna offer a nice amount of space, comfort, a useful layout, and is also gonna come in at under $150, and this is gonna be one of the best options that you can take a look at. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you all think of the Daylite carry-on backpack and how it compares to some of the other popular travel bags that are currently on the market. And if there's any similar options that you think that I should check out, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I want to thank you for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.